hope I'm not a geometry. I'm supposed to be algebra too.
We're live.
Oh, hi. I didn't curse. Sorry.
You did.
I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about.
Alright, so today is stretch and strength yoga. If you have a band or a strap, grab it. You don't absolutely need it. It can just be handy to have. We do some hip work today, and we're going to wrap our foot and grab it, so if you have the band. Otherwise, we're actually going to, the more challenging version will be to hold the foot anyway, so you don't need it. If you have it, it's just going to be handy.
What?
Caitlin looks unimpressed. Alright, we are going to start down on our backs.
That pose was physically damaging. My head really hurts.
Start down on your back, just land on your back. Bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a little hug. Start to arrive in the room. And if it's comfortable, maybe just keeping your knees in today, keeping a little ball shape. If it's not comfortable, bring your feet down and let your knees tap together. Just make sure your lower back is nice and comfy. If you're gonna hold your knees, just make sure you're not pressing the back of your neck to the ground. Let your neck have a curve. Just experiencing curling up as if preparing to shut out the rest of the world for 60 minutes. Maybe even close your eyes. Start to connect with the space that you're in. Start to connect with your breath. Maybe here, making a little promise to yourself, something about your practice. Maybe it is simply, I will stay present for my entire practice. Or maybe it's something deeper you would like to work with, something that you're going to return to and repeat whenever you get distracted. So if you would like to work with staying present, you would repeat to yourself, I am present, or I am here. If you want to work with something like self-worth or feeling loved, you would say to yourself, I am worthy, or I am loved. Feel your back on the ground. Feel your breath in your body. And then slowly take your feet up towards the ceiling, just experiencing your feet above your heart. Allow your arms to kind of soften onto the ground wherever your shoulders are comfortable. Take some wiggles with the feet, wiggles with the toes, whatever feels good. Take some slow ankle circles. Just kind of warming up your feet, feeling your feet, finding your feet. Find your toes. Take the tension out of your toes. Squeeze them tight and then spread them wide. And then we're going to warm up the core. So start to press your hips down into the ground with your stomach. Allow your shoulders and your ribs to be on the ground, and you can let that little curve in your lower back remain. Just starting to press. This should already feel like you're warming up your core. It should feel like work. Take the tension out of the face and really pay attention to any muscle groups that seem to be coming to the party that weren't necessarily invited. When you start to press your hips down in the ground, you start to compensate by using your arms a little more. Maybe your shoulders, maybe your upper back. Just start to notice. And then bring your feet even with your knees, and your knees about even with your hips. Bring action into your feet. So strong feet, still pressing down into the ground. Pressing those hips into the ground, pressing your rib cage into the ground. Whole stomach should be fired up. Breathe. And then we're going to bring our arms up above the shoulders. You can bring them onto the thighs or just hover them over the legs. And we're going to start to lengthen here. That same control, pressing the hips down, pressing the rib cage down. Lift left arm over the head and straighten left leg. Bring it back. Lift right arm overhead, straighten right leg, and bring it back. Nice and slow and controlled. Inhale as you open. Exhale as you bring it in. Still pressing the hips into the ground. Trying not to get too much movement in the torso. Restricting this movement. Really using your core. A little tap of your hand to your thigh. And a little pressure of your thigh into your hand. Can also fire up some different muscles. Breathe. Slow and with control. And then bring your knees back in towards the chest. Give yourself a little hug. Bring your knees back over your hips and set up again. Pressing the hips down into the ground. Pushing the rib cage down into the ground. And we're going to take knees side to side. So you can keep your legs, you can keep your knees bent, or you can take your legs long. Longer makes your legs heavier, so pick your poison. Take your knees a little bit over to the right and hold. So find the muscle group. The left hip is going to pop up off the ground a little bit. Rib cage is still pressing into the ground. Hold. Maybe lengthen the legs here. Bring it back to center, nice and slow and with control, and then over to the left and hold. Find the muscles that keep the body in this position. Maybe lengthen the legs, maybe not. Breathe and hold. Bring it back through center. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug. And then we're going to roll on over to a side and come up to a seat. We're going to bring your feet down. And we're going to use our hands for balance. So try not to roll back onto the tailbone. Lift up, stomach strong. Lift the knees. And we're going to do that same movement we just did on our backs. Little tiny movement to the right with the knees. Lean on to the right hip just a little. Squeeze and hold. Maybe take the legs long. Bring the knees back to center. Take the knees a little over to the left. Breathe and hold. Squeeze the core a little more. Bring them back to center.
I had cavern dust on the front of my leg.
Lift and hover the toes. Squeeze the core. And we're going to take the knees a little over to the right. This time, maybe leaning a little more onto the left hand. Lift the right. Squeeze and hold. Maybe bring the right over. This is a small, small movement. Find some muscles.
Oh, I just got it.
It's a small, tiny
Evil
movement. Even your hips should be working in that pose. So bring it down, take a little reset. And then over to the other side. So knees up, knees over to the left. Land on the right hand, but really only for balance. Don't cheat with the right hand. Lift the left and then over. And you can straighten the legs. This should be hard work. Your hips, everything, your stomach, everything is firing. And then bring it down. Bring your legs down, butterfly, feet together, and take some wiggles. Hips should already feel a little fired up, unless you were cheating. And then take the legs long. Find a position where your legs are wide. Maybe turn that way so you're not facing the mirror. Find the position where your legs are wide and you can feel your inner thighs, but you're not at your widest. Press your heels into the ground and then press one toe pointed and then the other. So a little movement left to right, firing up the legs. Just warming up, finding the muscles in the legs. Nice and slow. And then bring the feet back, hip distance, hands behind your hips. We're going to come down to little tricep push-ups. So bringing a lot of strength into your stomach. So you're not just rolling around in your stomach. You're going to start to bend the arms and bring your torso back up. All in the upper arm. Try to take the tension out of the neck.
My stomach is doing all of the work here.
So looking for compensation patterns all the time. Yoga is an internal experience. We're supposed to be finding that mind-body connection. As Keely said, her stomach is doing all the work and her arms are like not taking any weight.
Nope,
So
they're not.
really trying to find, and then bring it up, turn the hands the other way and pull your chest forward. Press
So
into
workout,
the
my
fingertips or
stomach.
press into the hands so that you're really pulling up. And then you can either return to that same movement or land your hands, and this time we're going to hover the hips. So land your feet really, really, really strong. Lift and hover the hips not very high. So lift and hold, and then little pulses. And again, see if you can work the arms. Keep the core stable, keep the back stable. Take the tension out of the face. And then land the hips. Come over, cross legs to tabletop. Turn around so you can hear me. So finding a tabletop, look at this test. Finding a tabletop position. We're going to inhale tabletop and exhale child. Connecting with our breath, finding our hands on the ground. Maybe try turning your hands to a different position, changing the position, you're warming your wrists. And then coming forward into a tabletop, turn your fingertips towards you, and you may need to bring them closer to your body, just starting to warm up the wrist in the other direction, giving your wrists a little strength. So once you get into this position, wherever your hands are, we want to pull up out of the wrist, not dump into the joint, but pull up. Breathe. And then turn your hands back to pointing forward. Then turn your hands under and stretch and open the front of the wrist. Breathe. Plant the left hand down, yet nice and strong. So lift up, draw energy all the way down to the left knee. Really strong in the whole entire arm and shoulder. We're going to take the right hand, tap it down on the ground. Inhale, open. Exhale, tap. Nice and slow. Inhale, open. Exhale, tap. See if you can freeze the legs. Feel like you're pushing down into the knees and pulling the knees apart. And really move from the core here. Squeeze your stomach. Find some muscles in your stomach. Find some muscles in your shoulders. Land the right hand, set up. Left hand taps. Really strong in the right hand, right arm. Inhale, open. Exhale, tap. Trying to freeze our base, strong hips. If you're really feeling strong and active in your legs, your glutes should be firing. This should be working the glutes too. Take the tension out of the face. Try not to dump into this right shoulder. This is what dumping looks like. Lift up, find some muscles. And then land the left hand and slowly make your way up to a down dog. Warm up your down dog position, whatever way feels good. Bending your knees, taking your heels side to side, whatever feels good in your body. Letting the tension go in your neck. Softening the muscles of the face. And then find a steady down dog. Lift the hips up out of the ground with strong muscles. Connect with your head below your heart and find nice, slow breath. Bend the knees and bring the knees all the way down to a hover above the ground. Take the right leg, lift the toes, take the right leg long, press the toes down and then press through the heel. Bring the upper body strong again, lift the heel, hold and hover. Left leg should be fired, right leg should be firing up. Bring the toes back, even with the left, hover the knees. Strong body here, strong core. Lift the left toes. Take the left toes long. Strong leg, lower the toes. Press through the heel. Find your breath. Strong shoulders. Lift and hover. Bring the toes back to meet the right. Lift and hover the knees. Hold. And then send it back down dog. Look toward the hands and either jump, step, or float all the way up to meet your hands. Land your feet. Find your feet on the ground. Let a bend in your knees. Let your torso find your thighs. And let the tension out of your head and your neck and your face. What can you let go of? Deep bend in your knees. Inhale, rise all the way up. Connect your prayer overhead. Exhale, bring it down to your heart. Begin to move and breathe. Inhale, raise prayer overhead. Exhale, down to our heart. Inhale up. Exhale, down. Stay with simple. Or begin to build upon this, dropping the hips down to a baby chair as you exhale. Inhale, rise. Exhale, down. Having an internal experience, finding your own muscles. Finding your breath in your body. Feeling your fingertips touch and connect. And you can build upon this by coming to the balls of your feet. Slowly lowering down the heels and back to baby chair. And then everybody land in a baby chair. Get really strong in your base. Soften the lower back a little more. Strengthen in front of the hips. Soften the shoulders and face. And then we're going to bring our heels up. So don't worry about how high you lift the heels. Just engage the legs. So feel like you're ripping your knees apart without letting them move. Engage the legs and then lift the heels. Find that lower center of gravity right in front of your hips. Squeeze. It doesn't matter how high you get your heels, we're just working the feet. Lower the heels, lift up, hold. Lower the heels, lift up and hold. And lower the heels. Landing on the right leg, send the left leg forward, straight. So long left leg, you can bring the heel down or you can leave it on the ball of the foot. Hips even, so take your hands here and feel like your hips are even. Sometimes we've got them all twerked. We've got our hips twerked and we have no idea. That's scary.
Yeah.
So bring your hands here to feel a nice even flat base.
Oh.
Then come forward. Maybe
Okay, Buddha.
let that go. He doesn't want it today. I have a feeling about that candle. So then bring your torso forward. Right leg should be really, really, really strong. You may feel this in the heel. You're stretching the back of the heel. Press into that left leg and then pull back up. You should feel it all the way up to the hip. Bring the torso a little more forward. And we're going to move and breathe nice and slow and careful here. Inhale, lift torso. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bring it back. Legs really strong. Soft, 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 tiny bend in the left leg. And then bring it down, hold. Get really strong in the left leg. So bring more of the weight onto the left leg now. Maybe come onto the ball of the foot of the right. If you want to challenge your balance, bring your arms out and maybe come up off that right foot.
I'm very scared that candle is about to be smited. It's making noises.
Lower the back foot. Come on back. Left foot in. Mountain pose. Inhale up. Exhale to heart. Shimmy the hips to let go. Loosen. Make sure you soften any tension. Breathe.
Oh. It's been a while of pain.
Come on down to a chair. Set up, soft lower back. So not all the, when we come down to a chair, we have to pull tight in the lower back. So bring some more tension into the stomach. Let the lower back soften a little. Engage the glutes, engage the thighs. And then your right leg is going to go forward. So weight onto the left. Right leg a little forward, nice and straight. Find your hips, get nice and strong in the hips, and then bring the torso forward. Nice and flat in the hips. I got distracted by the whole candle over there. We had a candle blow up and it looks like it might do it again. Breathe.
We had multiple candles.
So now press into that right foot. See if you can feel from the ball of the right foot to the top of the hip. And then lift. Inhale. Exhale, bring the torso down. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, sweep down. And then bring the torso down. Bring the weight onto the right leg. Get really strong. Maybe hover the back toes. Breathe and hold. And lower the back toes. Bring the right foot to meet the left. Inhale, breathe in. Exhale, prayer to heart. Inhale. I just said inhale, breathe in. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. I wish I could claim English was my second language. down to your heart and pause. Maybe even close your eyes.
You did say you were focusing on not having an accent.
Feel your body have an internal experience. We're going to go into a balancing and strengthening sequence. So if you want to grab your strap, and wrap it around your foot. If you want to be more challenged, you're actually not going to use the strap. So the strap will help give you something to hold on to, give you something to push into. You'll be able to feel the muscles in the back of your leg. However, if you want to strengthen as well as lengthen, you're going to not use the strap. So thinking about knowing our hips, the reason why we placed our hands here to know where our hips are is one of the things that we do when we balance is we go like this. We send that hip out so we can lift this left leg, right. We send one hip out so we can lift the other leg more into the center. We want to bring that hip back in, hips even. So we want to know where our hips are. Find your left leg. Find your hips. Try and keep them even. You may need to bend the knees a lot to get strength here. Get your base a little lower.
It's impossible.
Really, really, really strong. Watching those hips. See if you can lift the right leg forward without moving the hips too much. Bring it forward.
Got it.
Make the leg active. So bring the toes towards the shin. Whole leg is strong. Muscles are active. And we're going to pull the knee up and push the foot down. Pull the knee up, push the foot down. If you want to make the hands part of this movement, inhale up, exhale, press away. Inhale up, exhale, press away. Really finding the top of the thigh. Use these muscles. And then bring the knee in towards the chest. Maybe even hold on to it if you want to use your strap. Hold on to it here. And then fire up the muscles in this leg. So fire up the muscles in the right leg. See if you feel like you're firing your muscles up. And then see if you can release the hands slow and not drop the knee. So hold. Extra challenge is to take the leg out. You may want to grab for the toes or use your strap. So hold here, use your strap, or don't look at moving Kaylee. Hold the leg out.
I'm looking at my own moving shadows. I'm not fast.
Hold the leg out, challenge. And then bring it down and we're going to tap out that left leg because we were standing on it for a while. So really tap it out, shake it out. See if you can get it to wobble. And set up again. We're not finished with that right leg. So standing nice and strong. Find your hips, get strong. We're going to lift the right knee. Try not to move the hips too much. We're going to turn right foot in. So heel in, toes out. Hold, lift. Little pulses. You can use the strap. You can use your muscles. Lots of options here. And then Kaylee is going to demo with the strap. So wrap the strap around the right foot. I'm going to demo without the strap. We're going to bring the right knee up, right heel in.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I'll demo one with and one without.
Okay.
Wrap your band around your foot, your strap around your foot.
Oh.
We're going to hold, then we're going to press into the band. Doesn't matter how straight your leg gets, just press into the band. We're going to hold. You're going to bring your torso up really, really, really long, and you're going to take your right foot out to the side. Ooh. I actually don't like doing this with the bend.
Oh, nice. So you're gonna do it?
So take it out to the side. And then see if you can bend into this left leg. Bring the torso forward. I'm going to take the strap off because I hate doing it with the strap.
Throw your strap at me.
Take the left leg out. Take it long. Bring the torso forward.
Oh.
Hold.
I was doing it wrong without the strap too.
Hold, 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 hold. Bring it all the way behind you, but not warrior three. The hip is still forward. Pulse the thigh, pulse the leg. Little pulses. Strength. Breathe. And then bring it down. Tap out that left foot. So really tap it out. Let it loosen, soften. And then tuck the left toes under. Feel like you're pulling forward, pulling that foot forward without letting it move. Press into the ball of the left foot and take little slow circles with the foot. Just feeling around on the foot. Use that foot for balancing a lot. Reverse your direction of your circle. And then we have another side. Dip through my band. So grab your band if you're going to use it. Land on the right hip. Try to bring that left leg forward without too much movement in the hips. Strengthen the stomach. Hold. We're going to inhale as we pull the knee up. Exhale as we push it down. So leg is strong and active the whole time. Inhale, pull. Exhale, push.
I make my shadows look like they're fighting because for some reason I have two. So the two lights. My shadows are distracting me.
And then bring the left knee in. Maybe wrap your hands underneath it. Pull it in, get really tall in the torso. Then fire up the leg. So see if you feel like you're really, really strong in the leg. And unless you're practiced at this is what it's going to look like. You think you're strong and your knee's going to drop as soon as you let it go. So fire up the muscles. See if you can hold it. Let go. Hold. Maybe lengthen.
I can hold it.
Bring it back. Tap it, the right leg out. Being on it for a while, really tap it out. And then land, set up, strong on the right leg. Left leg comes forward. Turn the heel in. And then taps. So you're strong up and down. You're not, this is what throwing your leg looks like. We're using our muscles to lift the leg. Mind-body connection. Feel the inner thigh. Find it, use it. Right hip should be firing, glutes should be firing, stomach should be firing, face should be soft. Shoulders may be soft. And then bring the knee back up. Option to wrap the foot, option to bring the foot out. You can keep your knee bent this whole time. Bring the leg out. Slowly bring it round to the left side as you bring the torso forward. Lots of work in the hips here. Really strong glutes. Fire up the left heel all the way to the left heel. And then little pulses. Wah! As long as you don't fall. Challenge your balance. And then bring it all the way back around. Land. And really tap out and wiggle this right leg. Tap the right toes under. Land them. Then pull forward. Find your breath. Land the ball with the right foot and find some circles, nice and slow, like you're trying to feel every muscle Every angle that you can move your foot and ankle in. And back the other way. Not just rolling through the joints, rolling through the joints. Finding the muscles that make the joints move. And then back to your mountain pose. Land on your 2 feet. Connect with your breath. Inhale up. Exhale, prayer to heart. Inhale up. Exhale down. This time, land your prayer at your heart. Maybe even close your eyes. And feel what feels different than when you started. And then we're going to take a little step back with the left leg. Find a comfortable position for both legs. And we're going to come forward with the torso. Not so far forward that we're flopping over the leg, but an active stretch. So hips are flat, legs are active. Press into the legs, pull the legs apart. Get the torso longer. Breathe. And then bend into both knees and take the legs open wide to the side. Toes out, heels in. And we're going to inhale, star, and exhale down to goddess. Inhale, star. Exhale down. And arms, if they're tired, can stay on the hips. Really thinking about the legs. Once you get strong in the legs, maybe you can lift one heel as you lift, lower, and lift the other heel. Nice and slow. Having an internal experience, finding your own legs, and then maybe even both heels. Lift and lower. Finding your breath, keeping connected to your breath. Ooh. And then lower the heels. And if you have a block, the block can be handy. The wider your legs are, the more you're going to feel inner thigh. The closer, the more you're going to feel the back of your legs. You're going to come forward with the torso and find the stretch that's working for you today. Land your feet nice and strong. Feel like you're trying to tear the mat apart with your feet. Notice how that fires up the legs a little different. Maybe lean onto your block. Try to take the tension out of the face and the shoulders. Option to just hang out, feel the legs. Or you can take some side-to-side movements with the hips. So little tiny movement. You're moving the hips about a ½ inch. It's not much. Just starting to feel the inner thighs. And then if you like, you can begin to make it even bigger, bending one knee at a time as you move the hips over. And land the feet, land the hips center. Slowly bending into the knees, bring a hand at a time to the hips. Inhale as you bring the torso back up. Turn the feet back to the front of the mat. Step forward and bring the right foot back. Comfortable position. Settle the hips, find the hips, and then lean the torso forward. Nice long stretch from the left toes to the top of the left hip. You might also feel it in the back leg. As long as you're feeling like you're pulling actively, you can get a stretch in both legs. Bend into the left knee and bring the right leg back. Inhale, arms up overhead. This time, swan dive it down with the exhale. Right foot back, left foot back. High plank, breathe and hold. And you can lower the knees and return to that pose we were doing earlier. Inhale, lift the left hand up. Bring it down. Inhale, lift the right hand up. Or if you would like the challenge, you're going to do this from plank. Lifting onto the right side, lift the left arm up. Bring it back down onto the left, lift the right. Inhale as you open. Exhale as the hand returns to the ground. Inhale as you open. Strong arms, strong shoulders, strong core. Lift up out of the ground. Then lower the knees. Find child's pose. And what can you let go of? Return to your breath. Maybe return to your little promise from the beginning of practice. And then bring the torso up. Swing over to a hip and take the feet out. You're going to take the feet wide. And we're returning to that position from the start of class. So maybe taking a wiggle, feeling your legs and your hips, noticing any changes. Point the toes. Really send the toes towards the ground. Stretch and open the front of the feet. And then draw the ball of the foot back towards the shin. And then press the toes away. And draw it back. Nice and slow. Finding muscles. See if you can feel the muscles in the shins. Point. Nice and slow. And then pull back. And then take little wiggles with the legs. See if you can loosen and soften the legs a little. And we're going to combine all of those poses. So that opening up to the side, we're going to sweep up and open. Strong shoulders. So connecting with our feet. Connecting with the strength in our shoulders. So not just swinging around. This is not a swinging movement. Finding all those muscles. Press into the feet. Left hand lands. Right hip swings over. Lift the hips. Bring it on down. Right hand lands. Lift the hips. Left arm over. So starting to find strength and flow. Inhale, lift hips. Maybe press the hips up. Stretch the side body more. Have a little experimentation. Having an internal experience. Keeping your feet solid on the ground. Really finding your hips. Changing the movement to suit your own muscular needs, physical needs. And then bring it down. Take both legs out and wiggle them out. One last strength thing. Bring the legs out, don't make them too wide. We're going to look at the left leg. We're returning to that same thing we did while standing. We're going to lift and hover the left leg. So look at it, get strong, lift and hover. Watch what you do when you try to lift and hover it. Lift and hover that left leg. You're going to try and use your low back here and try and lean back to do this. Try and lift up tall and see if you can lift and hover that left leg. See, mine's shaking. It's really hard. Bring it down. Take a little wiggle. Look at the right leg. Watch for your compensation patterns. Watch for leaning back. See, it's really easy to do that. Look at the leg. Get up tall. See if you can lift and hover. Whew, my hands were doing the work there. Hold. And then bring it down and wiggle them out. Shake them out. Right there, baby. Bring it on down to your back. Bring your strap handy if you have one. If you don't worry about it. Find your hips on the ground. All the strength work is done. So start to let your breath go a little. Start to notice changes. Bring your knees in. And bring your knees out, feet touch. You can hold on to them or you can hover them here. Hips are pressing down into the ground. And then we're going to take our knees in circles, trying to use our muscles. Knees in nice slow circles while pushing the hips into the ground. So bringing the knees in and then the knees out as slow as you can. So feeling our hips, notice if you want to press into your hands to stabilize your hips. Try to use your stomach. Nice slow circles with the knees. If you want, you can stabilize your knees by using your hand. But really try to use that lower core a little bit, pushing into the ground. And then take your knees in the opposite direction. Same circle, opposite direction. Nice and slow. And this movement doesn't have to be huge. We have this idea that the bigger the movement, the better. The more range of motion, the better. We're just trying to locate muscles that might be gripping. And the smaller the movement, the more we have that mind-body connection, the more we are in control and we know what's going on, and the more we can find the tension to release. Bring your knees in and rock it. Looks like Keely's gone to sleep already. Bring the left foot to the ground, knee up. Stabilized hip, so maybe even put your hand on it. If you want, you can wrap the band around your right foot.
Oh, you're not doing it.
So, right foot long, hip pressed into the ground. Press the ball of the foot up towards the ceiling or into the strap and pull back a little. And then pull the ball of the foot towards the shin. Trying to keep that hip grounded. And one of the things that we often do, again, because we think there's some kind of internet competition going on, we bring the right foot up and we lift the hip so that we can get this foot closer to our nose because we think that's where it should go. But we're just trying to find the back of the leg. So wherever that is for you, maybe it's all the way down towards the ground. Maybe it's up towards the ceiling. Maybe you can keep this hip grounded and pull that foot even closer towards your nose. We're really looking to find an experience in the back of the right leg with the hips grounded. Maybe even a little attention in the left foot. And then bring the foot a little closer to the ground to begin with. And then open the foot up to the right side. You can let the left knee drop open to balance. And then you can move this foot around, finding an internal experience in the left and the right inner thigh. Still trying to keep those hips grounded. Don't forget to breathe nice and slow. And bring the right knee in towards the chest. Right foot lands on the ground. Switch the strap. Left foot lifts. Right hip, left hip, both grounded. Find the back of the left leg. Find the position where you feel like you are having an internal experience on the back of your left leg. And when we're having that experience, we're not looking to go to end zone and go to the point where all of our muscles and tendons and everything seem to be screaming at us, stop, 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 stop. We want to go until they feel warm, till we feel them, till we have that mind-body connection, and then sit there and breathe into it. And then bring the left foot slowly a little more towards the ground, and then allow it to go over to the left. Find the inner thigh. Maybe drop the right knee over to the right. And then the left knee, let go of the strap. Bring both knees in and give yourself a little hug. This is where we began practice. So return to this pose. If you had your feet down and your knees up, return to that. If you kept your knees in, returning to this pose and checking in, maybe even closing your eyes and really having an internal experience. What feels different? What feels better? What feels a little not so great? Noticing. There's no right and wrong answers, just noticing differences. Return to your little promise you made with yourself. Maybe even connecting with the idea of sealing it in. And then land your feet on the ground, knees up, at a comfortable position from your glutes. So you're comfortable in your low back. And we're just gonna have a little wiggle to reset. We're gonna press into our feet and just lift our hips a little, teeny bit. We really just wanna feel that dropping sensation when we let go. So lift and drop, lift and drop. You wanna feel the wiggle. And if you like, you can experiment with going left and right. So wiggling left and right. So just pushing the weight left into your left foot, then your right foot. So wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You're looking for the muscle wiggle. You want that reset, the cellular reset. Wiggle and loosen and soften. Imagine a 2-year-old when they're really throwing a tantrum and they're overwhelmed, or an animal when it's being in stress. It vibrates and it releases all those stress hormones. And that's what's good for us. So imagine that you could do that. Imagine you could loosen and forget everything you've been taught, every judgment you've ever placed on wiggling and shaking, whatever you're thinking right now. Imagine you could let go and let your muscles completely release any stored energy. Let go, release, soften. And then land the hips soft. Let them find the ground. Place the palms of your hands down by the hips on the ground. Not real close, but about a foot away from the hips. Press the palms of the hands into the ground and see if you can get that wiggle by pressing into the hands. So across the shoulders, left and right, across the shoulders, wiggling across the shoulders. See if you can get shakes and wiggles and resets across the upper body now. So the hips were soft. Now it's time to soften the shoulders. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Loosen, let go, and then let it go. Find the position that your body wants to be in for the resting pose. So really check in. Right now, if I were to listen to my body, the soles of my feet would be coming together and my hips, my knees would be falling open. I would prop up. But that is listening to my body where it wants to be right now. So you may have the desire to lengthen your legs long and go into a full Shavasana pose, corpse pose. You may wish to just keep your feet on the ground, your knees together. Just find your own resting pose. Let go of the world of should. Let go of what someone said must happen. And just listen to your own body and your own needs in this moment. Finding your own resting pose. And landing on the ground. Landing in your own skin. Take one last scan from the toes to the tips of the fingers to the crown of the head. Just checking in as if you could ask each and every cell in your body how it's doing. And just let it know it's time to release, time to reset, time to let go and surrender. Maybe even taking a moment to say to yourself, right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. And then check in on your breath. Can you surrender control of your breath? And then finally, can you check in and surrender control of the mind? So many times I'm told, I cannot meditate because I can't empty my mind. And it's just the ego fighting the mind. We're not meditating to control. We meditate to notice the mind and how it is and get to know it. And once you get to know something, it's much easier to be less bothered by it. So get to know your mind, see your mind firing, see the thoughts firing, see where they go. Just notice. As if you could drop below all the layers of the firing mind and just peek back up. As if the firings of your mind were on the backs of your eyes like a TV screen. And you were a little person sitting on a comfy chair in the center of your brain, just watching the screen fly, like you're flipping through channels, completely unaffected by it, just browsing, just looking, just watching. you have the time to spend more time in your resting pose, please take as much time as you need. Listen to your body. Remain grounded. 60 minutes is all that you have to give today. We're coming up on that 60-minute mark. So begin to bring a knee in at a time towards the chest. Nice and slow, curling up in a little ball. Try not to become too alert yet. Rolling up in a little ball, and whenever side is calling to you, curling up in a fetal position. Returning to your promise from the beginning of practice in this fetal position, this protective fetal position, and maybe repeating it a couple of times as if you're whispering it to your own heart center. Knowing that this fetal position is a time to connect into this heart center, your spark of life, your soul, whichever you want to call it. Remind ourselves of a time in the womb when all of our needs were met and we had not judged ourselves as negative or positive. We're simply that little tiny spark of life. Whenever we come to this pose, we can connect to the fact that that spark of life exists within, unchanged by our experiences. So whispering our promise to our essential center, our nature inside, our bliss layer. And then returning to a seated position. Hands of prayer at heart space. Completing our practice with familiar patterns. Bringing our left and right sides to meet in front of our hearts. This gesture of accepting ourselves as whole and complete, exactly as we are. May we all know a little more freedom from the turbulence of our minds, a little more patience with ourselves, a little more understanding. May we all know love, light, and connection. Thanks for joining us.